Mom said my ex will move into my house with his new wife and two kids because they have more needs. I agreed. 3 months later, the new owners were demanding their eviction. Mom called me in hysterics. You can't do this, I replied. Well, let's go. My name is Savannah, and I'm 33 years old. I work as a manager at a large tech company here in Austin, Texas, and I make decent money, enough to support myself and my 7-year-old son, Tyler, comfortably. 2 years ago, I divorced my ex-husband, Michael, after I caught him cheating on me for the third time. I know. I should have left after the first time, but I kept thinking he'd change. The first time, I found suspicious text messages on his phone. The second time, a neighbor saw him with another woman at a restaurant across town. The third time, I came home early from a work trip and found them in our bed. That was the final straw. The divorce was pretty straightforward since we lived in a no-fault divorce state. Tyler stayed with me, and Michael got weekend visitation rights. Plus, he pays about $400 a month in child support, which honestly isn't much, but it's what the court ordered based on his income at the time. My lawyer said I could have pushed for more, but I just wanted it over with. After our divorce, Michael moved back in with his parents because he had racked up serious credit card debt during our marriage, something I only found out about during the divorce proceedings. The guy had been hiding thousands of dollars in debt from me, including a secret credit card he'd used to buy expensive gifts for his girlfriends. Despite everything he put me through, I felt bad for him. I mean, he's still Tyler's father, and Tyler loves his dad despite his flaws. So when Michael would call me crying about not being able to pay his electric bill or his car payment, I'd transfer him money. He always promised to pay me back, but of course, he never did. I told myself I was helping Tyler's father, not my cheating ex-husband. Looking back, I was probably being too nice, but I didn't want Tyler to suffer because his dad couldn't get his act together. About a year after our divorce, Tyler came home from one of his weekend visits all excited. Mom, guess what? Dad got married again. And I have a new stepmom and a brother and sister now, he announced, bouncing around our living room. My heart did a little flip, but I managed to smile. That's nice, sweetie. What's her name? I learned that Michael had married this woman, Tiffany, after knowing her for only 6 months. She was divorced too, with an 8-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter from her first marriage. They were all living together in some cramped 2-bedroom apartment across town. Apparently, Tiffany worked part-time at a nail salon, but Michael was still struggling to find steady work. Honestly, I was relieved. Maybe now Michael would have some stability in his life and would stop hitting me up for money all the time. Maybe Tiffany would be the kick in the pants he needed to finally grow up and be responsible. Boy, was I wrong. About 3 months later, my phone rang at work. It was Michael, and I could tell from his voice that he was stressed. Savannah, I need to ask you a huge favor. He started. I lost my job 2 weeks ago, and we can't make rent this month. Could you possibly lend us some money? Just until I find something else. I sighed. Here we go again. How much are you talking about, Michael? Well, rent is $1,500, and we're behind on utilities too, so maybe $2,000. I know it's a lot, but I've got interviews lined up. I just need a little time. Against my better judgment, I transferred him the money. $2,000 was a significant chunk of my savings, but I didn't want Tyler's half-siblings to end up homeless. A month later, Michael called again. Same story, same request. This time, I hesitated longer before saying yes. When he called the third time asking for rent money, I finally put my foot down. Michael, this has to stop. You need to find a cheaper place to live or take whatever job you can get. I can't keep bankrolling your family. Are you kidding me right now? His voice got loud and angry. You're going to let 2 innocent children become homeless because you're too selfish to help out. Tyler's brother and sister could be living on the streets. Savannah, they're not Tyler's siblings. They're your stepchildren. And they have 2 parents who need to figure out how to support them. Wow, just wow. I can't believe how heartless you'd become. After I hung up, I felt terrible. Was I being heartless? Were kids really going to suffer because I wouldn't help? I needed to talk to someone, so I called my mom. Mom, I need some advice about Michael, I said when she picked up. Oh, honey, what's that man done now? I explained the whole situation. How Michael kept asking for money. How I'd been helping but finally said no. How he accused me of letting children become homeless. My mom was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that completely blindsided me. You know, sweetheart, maybe you should help him out a little more. I mean, he is Tyler's father. Mom, I've already given him $4,000 in the past 2 months. But think about it, Savannah. You have that big 3-bedroom house, and it's just you and Tyler rattling around in there. Why don't you let Michael and his new family stay with you temporarily, just until he gets back on his feet? I actually laughed out loud. Are you serious? You want me to let my cheating ex-husband move into my house with his new wife and her kids? Don't be so selfish, honey. Michael and Tiffany have 2 children to think about. You only have 1. They need the help more than you need your privacy. Mom, that's completely inappropriate. I can't live with Michael and his new family. That's just weird on so many levels. A true Christian helps those in need. Savannah, you're being very selfish right now, thinking only about your own comfort instead of those poor children. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Mom, Michael cheated on me multiple times. He lied to me about money throughout our entire marriage. Why are you taking his side? All men make mistakes, dear. A good woman learns to forgive and move forward. Besides, Michael supported you during your marriage. You owe him something for that. This was ridiculous. I had worked full-time throughout our entire marriage and contributed just as much to our household income as Michael had, sometimes more. I don't owe him anything, Mom. And he didn't support me. We supported each other until he decided to cheat. But my mom wouldn't let it go. For the next 2 weeks, she called me every day, sometimes twice a day, pressuring me to let Michael's family move in. She kept saying things like, "Those poor innocent children, and what would Jesus do, and you're being so hard-hearted." She even enlisted my Aunt Carol to call me and lecture me about family obligations. My dad stayed out of it mostly, but one evening, when I was over there for dinner, he pulled me aside. "Just do what your mother wants, Savannah. You know she won't let this go, and it'll make everyone's life easier." Everyone's life except mine, I thought. But I was exhausted from the constant pressure, and honestly, I started to wonder if maybe I was being selfish. Maybe it wouldn't be that bad. It would just be temporary, right? So I caved. I called Michael and told him they could stay with me for a few months while he looked for work and saved up for their own place. Really? Oh my God, Savannah, thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to us. We'll be the perfect house guests, I promise. You won't even know we're there. A week later, Michael showed up with Tiffany and the 2 kids. Tiffany was pretty in that high-maintenance way. Lots of blonde highlights, fake nails, always perfectly made up, even at 10 étoiles in the morning. She seemed nice enough when we met, though she did look around my house with a critical eye. "This is cute," she said about my living room, which I'd spent months decorating. "Very cozy, kind of small for a family this size, though." They moved into my 2 guest bedrooms, Michael and Tiffany in one, and her 2 kids sharing the other. Tyler was excited to have other kids around, so at first everyone seemed happy, but within a week, the problems started. Tiffany had opinions about everything. She complained that my house was too cold, so she kept turning up the thermostat without asking. My heating bill that first month was almost double what it usually was. She didn't like the food I bought, so she'd leave me passive-aggressive notes like, "The kids really prefer organic milk, and Jake needs gluten-free bread for his sandwiches stuck to my refrigerator." She rearranged my living room furniture and hung up pictures of her family on my walls without asking. The worst part was when she decided my kitchen wasn't functional enough and started moving things around. I came home from work one day to find she'd completely reorganized my cabinets and pantry. "I hope you don't mind," she said when I asked about it. "I just thought it would be more efficient this way. I watch a lot of those organization shows on TV." When I tried to talk to her about asking before making changes to my house, she got all huffy. I just thought since we're living here, I could make it feel more homey for the children. They're having a hard time adjusting to all these changes. Emma's been having nightmares about being homeless. Michael, meanwhile, had completely taken over my living room. He'd sprawl out on my couch watching ESPN at full volume for hours. His stuff was everywhere. Work boots by the front door, magazines scattered around, dirty dishes left on the coffee table. And he started giving me parenting advice about Tyler. "You're too soft on him, Savannah. Boys need more structure." When I was his age, my dad would have whooped me for talking back like that. Tyler wasn't talking back. Michael, he was asking why he had to go to bed when the other kids got to stay up later. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You're letting him question your authority. Things got even worse when Tiffany decided she didn't like my house rules. I'd always had a policy that food stayed in the kitchen or dining room. No eating on the couches or in the bedrooms because I didn't want ants or stains. But Tiffany let her kids eat wherever they wanted. They're just children, Savannah. A few crumbs never hurt anyone. Except it wasn't just a few crumbs. I started finding sticky juice boxes stuffed between couch cushions, goldfish crackers ground into my carpets, and chocolate fingerprints on my walls. When I brought this up to Tiffany, she rolled her eyes. You're being way too uptight about this. Kids will be kids. The bathroom situation became a nightmare too. With 5 people using the main bathroom instead of just Tyler and me, it was constantly dirty and cluttered. Tiffany had taken over most of the counter space with her makeup and hair products. Michael left whiskers all over my sink every morning. The kids left wet towels on the floor and never flushed the toilet properly. I tried to establish a cleaning schedule, but nobody followed it except Tyler and me. When I confronted Michael about it, he shrugged. Come on, Savannah. We're all adults here. We don't need some rigid chore chart like we're in summer camp. But the biggest issue was that neither Michael nor Tiffany was working. Michael claimed he was networking and waiting for the right opportunity, but I never saw him filling out applications or going on interviews. Instead, he spent most days playing video games or watching TV. Tiffany said she needed to stay home with the kids, even though they were in school most of the day. I need to be available for pickup and drop-off, she explained. Plus, Emma sometimes gets sick at school, and they need me to come get her. Meanwhile, my utility bills doubled. My grocery budget tripled. I was buying clothes and school supplies for kids who weren't even mine. After one particularly expensive shopping trip where Tiffany added things to my cart for the kids, I realized I'd spent over $300 on groceries in 1 week. The breaking point came during the second month when I discovered that Tiffany had been using my credit card to order things online. She'd apparently memorized the number from when I'd ordered pizza one night and had been charging small purchases to it. Things like kids' clothes, toys, even her own makeup. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, she said when I confronted her. I thought Michael said it was okay. I'll pay you back. I swear it was just a few little things for the kids. The few little things added up to over $400. When I demanded that Michael pay me back immediately, he got defensive. Look, Tiffany made a mistake, okay? But we're family now. Can't we just work something out? I'll pay you back when I get my next job. You don't have a job, Michael. You've been living here for 2 months and haven't even tried to find work. That's not true. I've been putting feelers out, talking to people in my network, playing Xbox, and drinking beer on my couch is not networking. Our argument escalated until we were both yelling. Tyler came out of his room crying, scared by all the shouting. That's when I realized how toxic this situation had become. The next incident happened during Tyler's parent-teacher conference. I'd scheduled it weeks in advance, but when the day came, Michael announced he was going too. I'm his father, Savannah. I have a right to know how my son is doing in school. Normally, I wouldn't have minded, but Michael showed up looking like he just rolled out of bed, wrinkled clothes, unshaven, smelling like beer. Mrs. Peterson, Tyler's teacher, kept giving him strange looks as he interrupted her constantly with irrelevant questions. Are you teaching them about American values? He asked. None of this Common Core garbage, right? I was mortified. After the conference, Mrs. Peterson pulled me aside. Is everything okay at home, Mrs. Anderson? Tyler seems a bit stressed lately. That night, I tried to talk to Tyler about what was bothering him. He was quiet for a long time before finally opening up. Mom, I don't like having everyone here all the time. Jake keeps going through my stuff, and Emma cries a lot. And Dad keeps telling me I'm not allowed to watch the shows I like because they're inappropriate. But then he watches really violent movies with bad words when you're not home. My heart broke. My sweet boy was suffering because of my decision to help these people, and they weren't even grateful for it. The final straw came when I got home from work early one Friday and found that Tiffany had gone through my bedroom and taken some of my clothes without asking. I borrowed a few things for a job interview, she explained, standing in my living room wearing my favorite blouse and my good black pants. I hope you don't mind. I didn't have anything professional to wear. You went through my bedroom and took my clothes without asking. I was going to ask, but you'd already left for work. It's not like you don't have plenty of clothes. I looked at her in disbelief. That's not the point, Tiffany. This is my house, and those are my personal belongings. You can't just help yourself to my things. God, you're being so dramatic. It's just clothes. I'll wash them and put them back. That blouse is silk. It has to be dry cleaned. And you stretched out my pants because you're bigger than I am. Tiffany's face turned red. Are you calling me fat? I'm calling you presumptuous and disrespectful. Michael came into the room to see what the shouting was about. When I explained what happened instead of supporting me, he took Tiffany's side. Come on, Savannah. She just needed something to wear to a job interview. Isn't that more important than some stupid shirt? It's not about the shirt, Michael. It's about respect and boundaries. You need to chill out. We're all family here. No, we're not family. You're my ex-husband who's been freeloading in my house for 2 months. After 2 months, I was spending an extra $1,500 a month supporting their family. My house was constantly messy and chaotic, and I felt like a stranger in my own home. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I sat Michael down one evening after the kids were in bed. Michael, we need to talk about your timeline for finding work and getting your own place. He looked genuinely surprised. What do you mean? I mean, it's been 2 months. You said this would be temporary. We're really comfortable here, Savannah. The kids are settled in their schools. Tiffany's made friends in the neighborhood. Why rock the boat? Because this is my house, and this arrangement was supposed to be short-term while you got back on your feet. Tiffany appeared in the doorway, apparently having been listening. It would be really traumatic for the children to have to move again so soon. They've already been through so much with the divorce and everything. What about what Tyler has been through? This is his house too, and he's been displaced by all of you. Tyler seems fine to me, Michael said dismissively. He's got playmates now. It's probably good for him. I felt like I was going crazy. These people had completely taken over my life and were acting like I was unreasonable for wanting my house back. I called my mom, hoping she'd finally see how ridiculous this situation had become. Mom, they're not even looking for jobs. They've completely taken over my house. Michael criticized how I parent Tyler and Tiffany keeps rearranging my furniture. She even stole my clothes and used my credit card without permission. This isn't working. Honey, they have 2 children to think about. You need to be more understanding. Maybe they do need the space more than you do right now. What are you talking about? It's my house. Don't be so selfish, Savannah. Michael is Tyler's father, which gives him some rights here, and those children need stability. What about Tyler's stability? He's miserable. He'll adjust. Children are resilient. I hung up, feeling completely alone and frustrated. That night, I lay in bed listening to Michael and Tiffany's TV blaring through the wall and made a decision. The next day, I called a realtor. I want to sell my house as quickly as possible. I told her, what's the fastest we can make this happen? Well, it's a good market right now. If it's in moving condition and priced right, we could potentially have offers within a week or 2. My house was in great shape in a desirable neighborhood with good schools. We listed it on a Thursday and had 3 offers by Sunday. I accepted the best one, a cash offer from a young couple who wanted to close within 2 weeks. While all this was happening, I was also apartment hunting. I found a nice 2-bedroom place about 15 minutes from Tyler's school and put down a deposit. It was smaller than our house, but it would be just Tyler and me again, which felt like a palace compared to the chaos we'd been living in. I didn't say anything to Michael and Tiffany. As far as they knew, everything was normal. I went to work every day, made dinner, helped with homework. Meanwhile, I was secretly packing mine and Tyler's important stuff and moving it to a storage unit bit by bit. Tyler knew something was up because I'd told him we were moving, but I made him promise not to say anything until everything was finalized. He was actually excited about getting his own space back. The closing was on a Wednesday. I went to work that morning like normal, went to the title company at lunch, signed all the papers, and handed over the keys to the new owners. They said they wanted to stop by the house that afternoon to take some measurements. I went back to work and waited. Around 4 o'clock, my phone started ringing. It was Michael. Savannah, what the hell is going on? Some couple just showed up at the house saying they own it now and we have to leave immediately. They do own it. I sold it. Silence. Then you what? I sold the house, Michael. The closing was today. You can't do that. We live here. You can't just sell a house out from under people. Actually, I can. It's my house and I can sell it whenever I want to. You were guests, not tenants. I could hear Tiffany crying in the background and kids asking what was happening. When I got to the house that evening, they were all standing on the front lawn with their suitcases and boxes, looking shell-shocked. The new owners were inside measuring for curtains. Tyler ran up to me confused. Mom, what's happening? Why can't we go inside? We have a new place now, sweetheart. Come on, I'll show you. Michael blocked my path. Savannah, you can't be serious. Where are we supposed to sleep tonight? That's not my problem anymore, Michael. Tiffany was full on sobbing. How could you do this to us? To the children. You've made us homeless. You made yourselves homeless by refusing to find jobs and get your own place. I gave you 2 months of free housing and you acted like you were entitled to live in my house forever. We trusted you, Tiffany screamed. We thought we were family. Family doesn't steal from each other or disrespect each other's homes. Michael's face was red with anger. This is kidnapping. You can't just take Tyler away from us. Tyler is my son, and I'm not taking him away from anyone. You'll still have your weekend visitations. The next morning, Tiffany called my mom and told her what happened. My phone rang 10 minutes later. Savannah Marie, how could you do such a heartless thing? Mom, they were using me. They had no intention of ever leaving or getting jobs. You've made those children homeless. How can you sleep at night? They're not homeless, Mom. They're adults who need to find their own housing like everyone else does. You need to fix this right now. Either find them a place to live or let them stay in your new apartment until they get on their feet. Absolutely not. My new apartment has 2 bedrooms, one for Tyler and one for me. There's no room for 4 additional people, and even if there was, I wouldn't do it. Then you're not the daughter I raised. Don't bother coming around here anymore until you make this right. If that's how you feel, Mom, then I guess I won't. Over the next few weeks, my phone was constantly ringing. Michael, Tiffany, my mom, they all took turns calling to yell at me, guilt-trip me, and demand that I fix their housing situation. Michael even showed up at my workplace one day, causing such a scene that security had to escort him out. My boss called me into her office afterward. Savannah, is everything okay? Do we need to get a restraining order? I explained the situation, and she was actually very supportive. She even offered to let me work from home for a few days until things calmed down. Michael finally got a job at a warehouse making $12 an hour. It wasn't great money, but it was something. He found a small 2-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town. Not in the best neighborhood, but it was what he could afford. Tiffany had to go back to work at the nail salon to help make ends meet. She called me crying about how it was all my fault that her children had to live in a bad area and go to substandard schools. Emma's crying every night because she misses her old room, Tiffany sobbed into the phone. Jake got picked on at his new school because his clothes aren't as nice as the other kids. This is all your fault. No, Tiffany. This is the result of 2 adults not taking responsibility for supporting their family. My mom called to tell me I'd ruined the lives of innocent children and would never forgive myself. She even tried to get other family members involved. My Aunt Carol called to lecture me about Christian charity. My cousin Jessica sent me a long text about how disappointed she was in me. But you know what? I didn't feel guilty. For the first time in years, Tyler and I had peace and quiet in our own space. No one was criticizing my parenting or rearranging my furniture or running up my utility bills. Tyler's grades actually improved once we moved to the apartment. He told me he could concentrate better on his homework without all the chaos and noise. He still saw his dad every other weekend, but he seemed much happier overall. I invested the money from the house sale in a college fund for Tyler and some low-risk mutual funds. We were financially secure and emotionally free. My mom didn't speak to me for about 6 months. Then she started calling again, complaining about her arthritis and hinting that she needed help with yard work and grocery shopping. I talk to her when she calls, but I keep the conversation short and don't offer to help unless it's a real emergency. Michael still picks up Tyler every other weekend. He's never apologized for the way he and Tiffany acted, and he's never paid back the money I lent them or reimbursed me for the credit card charges. But he doesn't ask me for money anymore, which is progress, I guess. Tyler adjusted fine to our new place. He actually seems happier now that he doesn't have to share his space with other kids all the time. He's got his own room, his own stuff, and his mom's full attention when he needs it. Sometimes people ask me if I was too harsh, selling the house without warning them. But then I remember how entitled they acted, how they took advantage of my kindness, and how they had no plans to ever leave. I think I did exactly what I needed to do to protect myself and my son. The funny thing is, my mom always taught me to stand up for myself and not let people walk all over me. I guess she just didn't expect me to apply that lesson to family members. But family or not, no one has the right to take advantage of your generosity indefinitely.